I want to thank you for giving us about 15-20 minutes of your time to listen to our recap of what we did this morning. This morning I had, what's interesting, I was up around 3:30, 3:45 in the morning. I was really excited to get up and trade. I was hearing over the weekend the tear-off news is that we had some positive talks going on. That really made me happy because I felt that the market would gap up on that. It seems to always gap up on anything positive with the China news. And then I also liked the once buyout or Sparks buyout. I felt that that would give us about 3 or 4 different bio stocks that would probably gap up, and like Edit, GBT, Cure, RGNX, and a few others that are similar, MDGL and all that. So I really wanted to also look at shorting those stocks. And I wrote everything down, but I had a tough time trying to log in this morning to the room. I had to, I guess, do a flash drive on Adobe or for whatever reason. And so when I got in the room I think it was about 12 minutes before the bell opened, I immediately just started going over each note, and then I started filling in. But I wanted the traders to get each call down before the market opened. And for the most part, I think I was still 85% accurate. I think CRISP is the only one that really didn't do what we wanted. CRISP continues to move up, but everything else seemed to be in line. And my thought process this morning, when I got up this morning, and I said right away was, okay, so the tariffs are up. So I have a select group of trades, and I hope that after this webinar, all of you will do the same. You want to, when tariff news, I go after the Chinese stocks, and I have a list of them. I have about 7 or 8 in my head that are automatic, and I automatically go to each one, and I determine the gap ups, and then from there I can trade the stocks. So, because I'm looking for the short side of the play, and the reason why I want to short those stocks is because we don't have a deal in place. I want you to understand that there is no deal in place. There's talks, there's a potential down the road that we're going to do something, but there's no deal in place. So when you have a YY, a WB, a Nates, a Baidu, a Bazan, a Momo, and they're all gapping up 2, 3, 4, 5 points, chances are those will all fill their gaps on profit taking before they go all the way back up. And that's really what I want to teach traders, the opportunity, what to look for when you get news like that. How do you react? I even put NEO in there over the 60 minutes piece over the weekend because I wanted NEO to come down to 8.5 on a sell-off. So that was really, really important to me as well. And then, so I had those on my radar. TTNP. TTNP to me was just either going to pop through 250 and run to 3 and then sell off all day to 160, or it's going to do a small pop, then a pull, and then a all-day grind back to 160. Either way, I've got the stock selling off to 160 today to fill some of that gap that closed at 140. NEO, I wanted to short at the open on the push. I want to give props to Raphael. He's our moderator in the room, RECERVEAN, Raphael on Twitter. He gave us NEO Friday morning that it was going to do a 60-minute time piece, 60-minute piece on the company, and he went long with size. It was his only trade that he did today, and he didn't need to do anything other, and he ended up catching about 1.25 to almost 1.5 points on the trade. I was really impressed with that trade, and well done, sir. So it was a nice play there. I went after Kier, obviously, for the reasons because they were the biggest one gapping on the once buyout. Momo, Bazan, WB, YY, and Baidu and NTS were all tariff related, so every one of these was a pop and short. And then Bazan with Momo, and I wanted these also to pop and short. And then RGNX had a nice trade in it. I wanted to pop at the open, scale in short, and just take it down. My goal is to get that stock down to 47, 48. I don't think I hit that goal, but I did get a nice 3 to 4 points on the short side. CRISP was what really the only call that really truly didn't work, but the day is still young. The only problem is it would have shook me out because they had a lot more momentum. I thought 37 and actually went to 39. And then I love the Netflix call because, again, it's a daily trade that we do. It's gapping up 5. I figured to push to 370 and then a sell off on it and gap fill. So I really like, and obviously if it's 363, I want to go to 365, especially with the market, so I can catch 5 points on the trade. And it's a trade that I always like to trade in the room. Just like you know, when the market's gapping up, you know, you can go after Facebook and Netflix and Amazon and Nvidia. Those are all pretty much, you know, Apple doesn't give me the range I'm looking for, as if maybe a Baidu for 5 to 6 points. I always know Baidu and the test will always sell and fill their gaps, so I'm always short those stocks, and I'll kind of show you why. So again, when you wake up in the morning, you got to be able to just see what the market is. Is it gapping up? Why is it gapping up? Just like, why am I taking a trade? Where do you see the stocks? If they're all gapping up, what do you want to do with them? Obviously, I want to short those gap ups, fill their gaps before another leg up on the stock. And then I want to give props to Fire Trader and B Trades. Both of them, I think Fire initially gave us the alert on a stock called this morning CIFS. And they were trading it from in the chat room down here off the 2 levels with volume coming in. They were taking the 2 spots, and Fire and both B were just kind of walking it up here. I did not take this trade down here. I figured it could be just a pop and fade. What got my interest on CIFS, and I'll tell you why I went on Twitter and started taking a position, was about right here. Right here. I'm going to show you this before it took off. Okay, you see how the flag, it pushes, then it pulls down, it consolidates. This is what we call consolidation, float rotation, and short trapping. So it's doing all 3 things. These market makers are a really good group. They're not really shaking you out like NBAV and some of these other trades. So I recognize that. And then I put the volume behind it. So if I'm doing already 25 to 30 million on a stock that typically does, let's say, $1 million or less, or $500,000 or less, I got momentum on my side. And then what I've got also is I check to see if it's a formal runner. How do I know that? I pull up the chart and I either do a 180, which in this case I did. So I just go back 6 months and I can see that it has potential for an upside move to the upside. So you don't want to short against something like that. Not why there's 30 or 40 million on the table. You follow what I'm saying? And once I see that and where I feel it could go, I start calling out the spots for the room. And that's when I take a position. And I also will notify Twitter that I'm taking a position on a small cap stock, just so my followers of almost 30,000 people can just kind of watch what I'm doing in the room. But my room is where I really give the call first, obviously for obvious reasons. But I'm looking, you see how the stock is really just consolidating based on these flags. Now, right now, I have a stop order in at 3 firm. So if it hits, it hits. I originally had a stop order at 250 when I originally took a position at $2.75. And the reason why I took the 275 right here, and I'll show you right before it took off. I'll show you right here. There it goes. I loved how it was just building a nice position and going back and forth. So about right here, I went long at 275, right there. That's where I went long. I felt very comfortable with it. And then I immediately, what is my risk reward? My risk, I have to look at the flag. So I go back to the flag and I think to myself, okay, my flag is right here. So I want to stay above here. So you see that 262 level? So I put stops at 250. So I'm risking 25 cents for a potential move that can go all the way up to almost $4 a share, and then sky's the limit after that because you have a big gap here to fill. You see this gap here? So if I can get 385 to 4, there's a potential gap to fill. And right now, in my opinion, this stock is going to continue to the upside. But I still have to keep stops in order. I have to keep them firm because if it, I want to always keep in the money. I'm not here to lose money. So I will be 25 cents in the money if the market makers decide to smash me down at 3. But in the end, I do think the stock will probably end up going. But I have to protect my profits, and that's really what day trading is all about. Did I get in late? I do different size when I'm at these levels because I'm more confident where the stock's going to go. As soon as I told the room and alerted the chat and Twitter, the stock immediately popped right here off a buyer. Came in at 400,000 shares. It hit about 323. I sold a little bit on this candle here at $3.332 right there into this pop right there. And now I'm just holding the rest with stops firm at $3. Okay. Also informed Twitter what I was doing, gave the chat room plenty of time to get in. But when you have a stock doing 50, 60 million shares with a potential of 75 by the end of the day, I think they're going to try to run this for a day or two, and they can really capitalize and get some cash out. So anyway, so I want to give a shout out to Fire Trader and B-Trades for both alerting this particular stock in the room. I was really impressed with that. And we will do a chart tonight on CIFS. And they did alert off of this $2 breakout, which is really a good area to, I mean, here this would have been a perfect entry at 2 spot with stops at 170, 160. So your risk was 40 cents with a potential move to about right here, which would have been 227. And that spot here would have been 258 with room all the way up to $3.75, which is where we're trying to go now. So that's how I trade small cap stocks in the room. I'm really kind of eyeing that, and I have my reasons to get in and my confirmations, and I'm cool. Another stock that we did that continued was IGCC. Again, this was the play from Friday at 62 cents, and there were quite a few traders that went ahead and swung the trade and woke up to just massive profits to $2.80 to $3.30. I mean, it was just a nice 2-day chart off a 60-cent call that we gave right down here. We went long at 62 cents, and the stock is now hitting $3.30. And again, the reason why IGCC went up, a 2-day chart, was because they're relisting on the New York Stock Exchange. So they're no longer considered a penny stock, so to speak. Well, they're small cap, micro cap, mini, but at the same token, they're going back to where they came back before. And I love these type of trades, and I will continue to find them for the room because they're really exciting. It's just like if somebody was trading a penny stock of 20 cents and then the company decided to come out of bankruptcy and resume business, those stocks are going to fly. I mean, they fly, 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 and fly. I haven't found one just yet for the room, but when they do, believe me, those are the kind of stocks you size in, and I've seen them go up as high as 500-600% in a day. I mean, you really can, they're game changers type trades, and they're fun to do. Okay, so another stock that I had on our list was a stock called Cure. And let's go into the Chinese names first. Okay, let's do Momo and Bazan. These are kind of two of my favorites. And so what I do is I want you to see how we set these up. Now I want you to look at the gap ups. Again, they already ran on Friday, and then the tariff news came in positive, obviously. And then you have these are really small cap stocks where I love to, they're basically less than $40 a share. And they give traders in the room really nice opportunities to capitalize on being able to short or long a stock like this. And so what I was looking for on Momo was just some sort of a gap fill on this topping. Because on Momo, when you're up 33, when you're up at 33.20, 33.40, and then you move all the way to 35.69, you're up considerably on a stock like Momo, and usually you'll get some profit taking that will kick in. And instead of trying to go force a NVIDIA or Facebook or Baidu or an NTS, you can actually do a cheaper stock for 500 shares, 15,000 buying power, do 250 scaling with 250 to add, and you can really pull a point or a point and a half and make $300 to $400 on a trade. And that's all you're really looking for on trades like this, is to make $300 to $400. You're not here to hit the home run. Obviously, if you want to size in 1,000, 2,000 shares, yeah, you'll make your money. But, you don't want to get shaken out either, because, they do have a habits of squeezing. And since you were already up, there was a chance it could have squeezed all the way up to 36. And if you had 2,000 shares, you probably would have, kind of got squeezed out. So I played it safe for the room and just kind of said, well, look for the pop that opened towards 36, scaling short. You could take some now, but give it room to add, and then pull it down. So nicely done, Raphael, on unit. Congratulations. The next trade was Bazan. Again, I wanted it to pop at the open, and then I wanted to short it and gap fill. And so on Bazan, I wanted just a quick pop towards 40, 41. You could take some short. I told the room at 40 in pre-market right here. I said give it room to 41, have an ad. You would have a 40-50 average, and the stock came all the way down to $37.65. At that moment, I told the trader, Ken, he wanted to go long, I believe, Bazan, and he went long. He asked me if they're consolidating. I said yes. He got confirmation from me. And this is what I was telling Jigsaw today on Twitter when I made a statement to him that this is, I want to help him, you know, and I want him to just to be in the room, just sit with me, and before he takes an entry or an exit, just check with me. I'll give him confirmation. I'll tell him what his risk reward is. And it's when you're trading stocks like this, if you just keep your size in check, you'll win the stock. Because even if it pulls a little about you, and how hard is it to trade? Well, it's not. If a gap fills all the way down within what 50, 60 cents of where it came before with the tariff news, chances are you're risking only that 50 cents. So if you bought 250 shares and it dropped to 37, you added 100 more, your average would be about 37.48. And just with a move to 39 up here, you would have made your point and a half. You just had to be patient. Beautiful trading. This is the art of trading to me. I love this. This is the epitome of just making 250 to 500. You're not sitting there sweating your palms, wondering if it's going to go down. You're confident. You're confident. You see where it's going to go and why. Why did you want the short? Because you needed to gap fill some first. Why did you want the long? Well, if I came within 50 to 60 cents of the range where it hit on Friday, why not risk it and take a few long? I'll get a little bit halfway to the upside and I'll still be safe, just like normal. Another two others that just stood out that I really was all over were Baidu and Vitesse. Now, these were more expensive stocks for my top dogs in here that really have big accounts. But what I love about these is that Baidu is always, and Vitesse, these are two notorious trades that gap up on any kind of Chinese news, tariff news. But when they gap up, man, they sell off so much. I mean, it's just a matter of a blink. And I'll show you a blink trade. You see this? You see how it gapped up? I told traders in pre-market, start going in at 171. Just go 171. Even when I was talking, I'd be here long, short at 171 and add to 173 in case. You had to give a little bit of room. But if it popped, you were going to make bank. And look at the pull. Look at the gap right here. And look where it pulled to. And it double bottomed right there. So literally on this trade, it would have beat a Nvidia, a Facebook, an Amazon. This thing would have just knocked it out of the park. Just in the first opening bell within the first 2 minutes of the trade. On the test, I told the traders go short 229, room to 231. Got to give it 2 points in case it pops. And again, it's the same as Baidu. It will fully gap fill. So all you're looking for is the gap fill, which is what, $2.22 and 57? 222.57. There's the gap fill. You can go long. If it pulls some more, you can add a little bit, but either way, you would have gone it all the way back to 225 on the play. See how it just got, if you just took the trade from here, just draw a line across at 222. If it dipped to 221, add. You have a now 222 average, goes all to 225, you make 3 points on the trade. Another stock that gave up like that was a stock called YY. I just want you to take a look at YY. This was incredible. Another gap up play. Now, WB didn't quite give us what we wanted, but YY delivered. And YY had a nice run on Friday. And so I told traders in the room, take short 76.50, room to 77.50, 78. I believe that's what I wrote in my pre-market notes. YY, $77 a share. Just give it room. Take short at 76, room to 77 to add, and gap fill to 74 and under. Well, this thing sold off. I mean, just absolutely stunning. And actually, here's the 74 area, and right there, and it continued to come down. I mean, it fully gap filled and more. But this is a beautiful trade, traders. I mean, 200 shares, 100 shares, with 7,000 buying power, you can literally make $250 for 2.5 to the downside. You don't have to really think about it, sweat too much. Why? Because, again, the tariffs aren't guaranteed. They're just talking. And that makes it all the difference in the world. So, and as far as our bio stocks, well, we did 2 of them today. I picked RGNX, and I won't do charts on these though because I've already got my 7 for today, but I'll show you this one in Cure. These were already gapping up huge. Lots of bag holders. On the speculation, these could be the next buyout since Sparks got bought out. And I really like to go after things that are not news yet, but could be news. And so what I do is I just anticipate a little bit more of a short squeeze and then a nice sell-off on the stock. This pulled in a nice topping right here. You see this double top right there on that topping? And a lower low set in right away. This was an absolutely stunning short for a quick 3 to 4 points to the downside. And Cure, and that was an RGNX, Cure kind of ran a little bit more. Initially, it topped off double. You see the double top right here? These are what I look for. And I told the traders, short here, it'll come down. And that one delivered a pull all the way to 52, almost $52. And then it pushed up again one more time on a squeeze. And then I told traders it should come down again to that area, 52 to 51. My goal on Cure is ultimately around this gap here, 47 to 48. And my goal on RGNX is at least to this level here of $50 and under. Those were both on my notes. And what didn't really work was Crisp. Crisp was the closest to Sparks, so they really, and remember this was a $70, $80 stock. Actually, this was back in the day, this was a $75 stock on news. I remember I traded Crisp a long time. So this one had a little bit more potential to run. I figured it would only go to 37, maybe 38, 37.50, and then sell off, but it didn't. It continued to climb. I think in the end it will break the 37 and under, but right now it didn't really work out, so we had to cut that one off. And the other one that I kind of did not work as much as I wanted to was I think it was WB. Yeah, WB was one of those that I wanted to short up here on this topping. It was pretty evident, wanted to pull, but I expected more of a gap fill pull to 69, and it only stopped at 70, so we didn't get really the money truly we wanted before the run up. But my last trade I do want to talk about, and I might do this chart tonight, is TTNP. This one, the reason was on my list. I really wanted it to, the news was pretty good, to be honest with you. I was really impressed with it. But I also knew I had a ton of bag holders down here that were on light volume. So I was telling traders, don't long until it hits 250. You cannot long until 250 because it did pop here in pre-market with decent volume, but I needed the 250 for me to see it. And you can see at the opening, it only hit 245. And I kept telling traders, don't long it, wait. And once the lower low set in, and you can clearly see about right here off the pull, it broke the trend. This is your short, which stops at 250 or 240, 245 right there would have been your stop. So you could have risked on a 225, 230 short. If you can get shorts, your risk was about 15 cents. And then I had to start going to $1.60 for the gap fill, which is right here is $1.40. I said the gap fill would be right here on this flag right here at $1.60. So ultimately, that's where I think the stock will end up at $1.60. And then they'll probably do some sort of offering. Okay, so those actually are the 8 charts we'll do tonight. I usually do 7, but CIFS for the great fire and B trades, IGCC for 2-day swing, Momo, Bazan, Baidu, and NTS and YY for the Chinese tariff news on the sell-offs, and TTNP because it was a PR kind of crap trade. So we ended up getting our money on that one. I'm still long before my webinar ends. The CIFS, I have stops firm at 3. It did not hit while I was doing this webinar, so I'm leaving them. I like the way it's holding, and I hope it swips 350 and shoots to 4, and we can cash out at 450. So that is the goal. So we will see. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining us today. Feel free to look at the pre-market notes and click here, and you'll go right into, you could sign up for a day, week, or month. And I will work with you one-on-one, show you each setup, each trade, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, explain in detail. And if I don't know something, I'm okay to say, hey, I don't know. I don't see that move. I don't, whatever. I'll show you what I know. So other than that, this is my Twitter feed. I'm at AJTrader7. And I really love what I do. Last week was just an incredible week of trading. I did stamp. And by the way, we had an alert from Dark Side this morning. I know sometimes I don't speak about him a lot in the room because he's a great trader. But this morning he alerted pre-market. Stamps had some positive news, and the stock has actually ran all the way to 100. So really impressed with the alert. Uh, I got in a little late, so I didn't see the alert. I wish I could have saw it. But some traders did trade it off his call, but it didn't end up going all the way to 100. So it's well done by Dark Side, and he read it in detail when it was moving up here. I did trade it a little bit live in the room. I think it was off the 90, this level here. Yeah, I had a trader that wanted to go long. I went long with them from 95 to 96, and then it dumped. So it was a nice trade. All right. So that is it. Let's see what happens on CIFS, and if it hits what I'm looking for, then I guess I'll be a hero for today. We'll see. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.